I try to keep my comments as brief as I can so that we can tuck into our presentations from our students and projects throughout. As a quick review, we will do a quick summary of our year just to help contextualize who we are, what we're doing. We will talk a little bit about the projects, the partners, and the curriculum we have in the Pharmacy Innovation Lab. We will then turn things over to the guests of the hour, which are our students who have been working so diligently and hard over the last semester on the various projects that they'll share, including one of our first opportunities to do an in-person alumni update with Dr. Steinkopf. So thank you for making the trip out to see us. And then we will wrap as soon as we can and turn you back to the food and to say hello to everyone else. I know we've had some information passed out from our Big Idea Center, so thank you to Tiffany Rice from not only joining us, but also representing some of those opportunities there. Yeah, give us a wave. Everyone say thank you, or just a quick round of applause for those folks who are joining us today. As a note for our recording reminder, those who are joining us virtually, as well as those who will be presenting today, we do record all these presentations to live on in perpetuity so that after you leave us here from Salk Hall, you get a chance to say, oh man, I remember when I was doing all that stuff and learned so much, not only then and since the time then. But we always like to start with a quick summary of what is the Pharmacy Innovation Lab. It's been almost 9 years that we've been working on these topics, and the way I like to summarize some of our work often overlaps with our curriculum that we'll speak to in just another couple of projects that we'll have presented by our student learners and the partners who make all of them possible. As a part of our curriculum, every fall we do our pharmacy innovation course that we have 3 simple takeaways of our learning objectives: that you have to love a problem, not just the solutions that exist, a very common thread as we think about AI today. Show, don't tell. Yes, we're talking about some of the great work that's happening, but as you'll see from our presenters, demonstrating the learning, the outcomes, and the immediate impact of your work is so very valuable, especially as our last component, you share a story. Where does the problem stem from? What does it mean to you? Which is some of the guidance that I offered in the very open-ended guidance for our students today. You can see here how we walk through examples of rapid prototyping, from things like identifying which medications you're taking, improving vaccine from times as you walk in the door to the time that that vaccine is in your arm itself, and the infographics. How do we use auxiliary labels to our benefits? Those cryptic random pictures that we all stick onto those vials that kind of go off into the ether. How do we make those accessible in a digital world? All examples of projects that we took on in our pharmacy innovation course this fall. And a thank you to our guest presenters, including our Pitt Pharmacy alum, Erin Bailey, who's currently at Aon, and joining us from the United States Pharmacopoeia, Principal Scientist Dr. Misty Stan. In addition to that, we have our annual Python course in which we delve deep into the world of syntax and machine learning and predictive modeling. But we also get a chance to hear from practice. So I'm very excited that this year we got to have international representation across our guest speakers, from Dr. Mirzai, who's joining us from the University of Sydney School of Pharmacy, in addition to the course alum, our data scientist and fantastic friend across the street at the Health Sciences Library System, Alexa Senam, and Joey LeGrand, founder of the CoderX community, as well as creator of SagerX, an open source data set for medication information. As we think about the curriculum, and then I mentioned our partners, we have our hackathon that we'll have a chance to hear from folks like Ian Fu. All of these names making possible the iteration of new technologies that can help solve problems in healthcare, as we did last fall. And then a quick review of our partner summaries, and I'll put Colby on deck here just to share a little bit of his work as I explain how we partnered with a variety of startups. And the fun part about a lot of these startups is that there is an overlap of who exists and the clinician founders that make them possible. So we'll also have a chance to hear from Anna Lee joining us, as well as a nice through line from our hackathon to our startup partners. But I'll invite Colby Bean to join me here as I share how do we partner with a variety of these companies. Pearls is a medication information app. We have APPE rotation set up with them, so they've had at least one of our students with them who will be graduating here shortly. Handle Health, looking at price transparency across healthcare in terms of the various billable procedures and potentially billable equipment that we were able to partner with in the fall. And then our Parcel Health we'll hear about in just a second as I turn things over to Colby, our P3 extraordinaire, who's been working with them over the last year and a half, if I have that correct, as well as Ziplytics, who is, in the last 6 to 8 months, a new startup looking at explainable AI in the form of systematic reviews. So how do you use your research questions to inform how systematic reviews are conducted through this very exciting new platform of explainable artificial intelligence? Well, thanks and shout out to Dr. Trin. For some of our PE1s and 2s in the audience, maybe this is an opportunity that you'll be able to join. As I said, we'll be excited to hear from Corian, but I did want to mention some of our partnerships here with Sparks Analytics, a company founded by pharmacists, and we'll hear more about their special topics that they were able to support. But I also wanted to share that in addition to not only supporting our special topics this semester, they hosted one of the first ever pharmacy-focused datathons in which our participants across 17 schools of pharmacy were provided a data set for which they had to create a dashboard for. And I'm a little biased, but of course our sponsorship or support as the Innovation Lab also had representation in Pitt Pharmacy in our second place finishers. So congratulations to Elizabeth and Emily, our P2 team that took second place in this datathon. Last program that I'll mention over this last year were hopefully the future of pharmacy, 120 participants in our Pharmacy Innovation Experience and Research program, thanks to our student pharmacist team that made that possible, and handing off the reins to a completely new team. And it's really fun for me because I get to go two and a half years back in our lineage and welcome Dr. Caleb Short back, who was part of that peer team back in 2021 into 2022. So thank you again for joining us, Dr. Short, and good to see your legacy continue. But with that, I'm excited to now turn things over to our first presenters, and I'm going to ask for audience participation. One is to make sure that our QR codes are working. So this is our LinkedIn that I will ask just to see, does that contrast and use of our projectors work? So if anyone does get that QR code to work, I see thumbs up. The next thing I will point you to is that as a participatory audience today, you have a role in providing roses, thorns, and buds. And I have to thank Dr. Anish Ramaswamy for presenting this as a part of his course. For each of our presenters, for all of our student teams here today, you'll have an opportunity to provide feedback. Roses being things that you appreciated about their presentation, thorns being things that you might recommend for improvement or might have some cooler feedback for, as opposed to some fantastic thumbs up with the roses, and buds, questions, things that might have sparked in your mind, things that you want to talk about. So I'm stealing that from a variety of team building and feedback exercises, as well as the world of design thinking and product development. So now that I know that everyone's phones and QR codes are working, I'm excited to turn things over to our speakers today. Audience who took the time, and a quick summary from our year by the numbers. We had 7 international and national conference presentations, 4 book chapters and publications, and over 400 learners across a variety of disciplines just coming through our courses and outcomes. And a nice little tidbit as we look towards our graduation for our upcoming class, close to half of all of our graduating PharmD students have somehow been a part of either the courses, the projects, the events, the participation. We're excited to see so many of you all here in front of us today, from Marlon, who I think was just finishing up a final before he had to run up the hill to join us, to Anna, who is taking care of Winston the Wonder Dog, to our P2s who are coming off a plane back to Salk, back to present here. So with a graduating class of 2024, which I don't know why it's 2026, we wanted to say congratulations to our upcoming graduates here in the next couple of days. Thank you for taking time out of a very busy prep for finals week, for being here, for our Zoom audience. Keep innovating. We'll look forward to seeing everyone next year. Grab some food on your way out. And with that, have a wonderful end of your semester.